So, other imperialist colonies in Africa, imperialist governments for the most part granted monopoly rights to the various companies formed to develop regions of Africa. The British Royal Niger Company, for example, colonized Nigeria. Germany established German Southwest Africa and German East Africa with the development of the region by German East Africa Company. By 1914, Germany had acquired new territories of 1 million square miles and as many as 13 million people. Italy formed the Italian East African Empire in Eritrea by 1885 and appropriated Asmara and the southern coastal strip of Somaliland in 1889. The Italian Benadir Company developed Somaliland, and Italy attempted to form a protectorate in the African kingdom of Abyssinia, but the Abyssinians defeated it in 1896. So let's talk about imperialism in Asia and the Pacific. First of all, we're going to talk about Britain and India. The main regions of European colonization were India and Africa, like we've already discussed. British influence in India began as a commercial activity during the declining years of the Mughal Empire, and the breakup of Mughal rule resulted in minor disputes among local princes. The British took advantage of this situation to help settle disputes, thereby gradually gaining greater influence in India. And the 7 Years' War, which was also fought in Europe and North America, was the first global war, and this happened in 1756 through 1763. It brought the British and French into conflict in India. British victories over the French in India gave them control of the country, and many of the Indian soldiers, or sepoys, were attracted to higher-paying British armies. India gradually emerged as Britain's key source of raw materials and main colonial market for British manufactured goods. It was often called the crown jewel of the British Empire. The British who went to India created a stratified society with Europeans occupying the highest positions. English became the language of instruction in Indian schools, and the British Raj, which was the Sanskrit name for the government in India, set up telegraph lines to facilitate communications with Great Britain and railways to carry troops and raw materials. For the most part, the British did not train Indians in the use of new technology that they brought to India, and with the cooperation of the Western educated Indian leader Ram Mohan Roy, the British outlawed sati. British rule over India tightened after the 1857 Sepoy Rebellion, and this is an important thing to know about, guys. The cause of this revolt of Indian soldiers in the British Army was actually the issue of the new rifles that required soldiers to use their teeth to tear open new cartridges. Now, the biggest issue was that the ammunition that these cartridges was lubricated with animal fat, and Muslims who did not eat pork were offended by grease that came from animal fat, while the Hindus objected to grease from the fat of cattle. And even though the procedure for opening the cartridges was changed, the sepoys still rebelled against British authority, and the revolt was put down in 1858, but not before several hundred British men, women, and children were massacred. Schools and universities established by British and American missionaries created an educated class of Indians with a strong nationalist sentiment. In 1885, they founded the Indian National Congress, which promoted a greater role for Indians in their country's government. And the new organization also sought harmony among Indians of diverse religious and social groups.